tabletop. Free to play, all of the power, none of the cost.
Hello, this is FGCon 2025. I'm Paulette Anderson, the community manager for SmiteWorks, and this is
Dominic Morta, rule set developer. I build all your rule sets, extensions, and modules that we provide internally.
today we're going to talk about making extensions for Fantasy Grounds Virtual Tabletop. So, Dominic, what is the difference between like maybe an extension or a module or a rule set?
Okay, so modules are uh, files that contain all of your all the campaign data that is needed to run that particular, campaign or adventure or whatever. Contains all the records for like your items, your NPCs, maps, all that kind of good stuff. So there's not a whole lot of automation related to modules. It's just a straight, collection of data for your next adventure. A rule set is lots and lots of code. It is a specialized code to help run a particular system, like 5e. The particular difference between a 5e rule set and a 5e extension is 5e rule set will contain many lines of code to handle all the mechanics of 5e, while a 5e extension would just handle something very, very small or very particular or very specific to a problem that wants to be solved. So what we're doing today is an extension, which is very simple, couple lines of code. It could be lots more than that, but generally speaking, it's usually a very small change and very focused change that will adjust how a rule set functions and how a rule set behaves. So that is necessarily what's the differences between all the three files that we kind of work with within Fantasy Grounds. An extension also is a nice way to getting also your feet wet if you want to be a developer of some sort, or even help enhance your game. Paulette, let me ask you a question. Have you
Sure.
ever wanted to make a change, do some homebrew to your 5e campaign at any way, at any point during your time playing on Fantasy Grounds?
Well, of course, have made some specialized characters or, they have different spells or different, pieces of equipment. So, yeah.
Yeah, of course. And the only way to do that, I mean, if it's not available to you within Fantasy Grounds, you're going to have to make some changes, right? And to do that, you would use an extension. It slightly modifies or adds code to the rule set to make sure it does what you want it to do. So, like for instance, if you wanted to add a new sanity tracker, maybe your new homebrew class has some sort of scare mechanic, or maybe you wanted to add some new currencies, or you wanted to add, I don't know, maybe a tracker within the party sheet to make sure we kind of let everybody know what everybody's doing during their downtime. Those are very small things that definitely are extension worthy and also very easy to accomplish. It doesn't take much in terms of research. You can find where a lot of the stuff is within the rule set, and then you just simply make your changes, apply it to your rule set, run the rule set extension, and then poof, now you have this new custom functionality for your table.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
so as far as extensions are concerned, they're very small. They're they can be very powerful tools for your homebrew or any kind of modifications you think that your table should run. And then on top of it, they make very low footprints. So let's see what we can do later. I'm going to kind of break those down on how an extension is built, and then also some more tips and tricks as well of where to find that information.
Okay, so where would we get started?
Well, that's first we need a couple things,
Okay.
right? First, the tools that we need is some sort of text editor. A text editor is a program that helps you build these files. One of the most popular ones is called Notepad++. There are other ones called VS Code, Atom, Sublime. There's also now if you're on another operating system like Linux, there are Vim and other ones like Emacs and other kind of programs that help make text files. Now, I personally am on Linux, so I will be showing off any kind of screen, any screens you're going to see will be Vim related. Um, and then once we get our text editor, we're going to then have to unpack CoreRPG. And what that means is all of our rule set files and all of our extension files are just glorified zip files. So if you double click on it using your file manager or a program like 7-Zip, it'll show you the contents of that file, which would be a breakdown of all the files needed to run the rule set or things along those lines. Now, I usually recommend unpacking CoreRPG and 5e because those are the two popular rule sets. CoreRPG is where you're going to need to look for most of your controls and layouts that are going to be related to what you're working on. But if it's a particular rule set that you're working on your first project, definitely unpack that rule set because then you'll be able to pull out the information you need to kind of merge or even replace things that you just don't want. Um, so the very first step I usually recommend after, of course, you're getting your tools is to visit our wiki because the wiki itself is a very great location that breaks down a lot of the higher logic stuff within our development process. As you can see, it's under development guide, and there's just so much, Paulette, here.
Oh,
It has
yeah.
an overview.
You can find anything. You can answer most of your questions you have by jumping on the wiki.
Correct, and it just might take a little bit of some reading. Now, if you're just more of the kind of sort that needs the answer like right then and there, me and you are always available in Discord. And then on top of it, we have a Discord channel called Coding Help, where a lot of other third-party developers monitor and answer questions. So don't be hesitant about reaching out to
You
us
can
or
find
even
us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern in the FG Hangout. So come in, live chat, come visit or just, hang out and chat about other things that are game related.
we get lonely sometimes. Um, so as so moving from that, we're going to go to the wiki, Paulette, and get some information because we're going to need to kind of understand what we really need to do for an extensions. Well, the first and easiest way to get an extension started is to copy an existing one. So if you have access to another extension, just to kind of see how everything's kind of set up, you can definitely copy and paste there. We just don't recommend copy and pasting everything full cloth and then saying that it's yours. That's a big no-no. But I navigated already to the extensions page for our developers guide, and it does also provide you with a free, brand new, yes, sparkling extension here. It doesn't do much, as you can see, but it does do enough to where we can get a nice leg up and start it. So what I usually do is like to copy this, and I'll paste it into our files that we need for the extension and get started. Um, the next step, once we do this, is we're going to have to go and navigate to the root folder for our Fantasy Grounds installation.
Ooh, I
Now,
know where to find that.
oh, good. Where do I have to look?
Upper left hand corner, go to that little folder icon. Click.
Bing, bing, bing. You have nailed it. If we click on this nice little button here in the top left-hand corner, it will open up your file manager for your operating system and bring you to where what we call the root of your installation. Now, the reason why we call it the root is because it holds all of your campaigns, extensions, modules, rule sets, everything is located here. Now, my screen may look a little different than your screen, Paulette, because I'm operating on Linux. You may operate on Windows, which may
I
have a
do.
different look and feel to it altogether. So, as you can see, if we go into our extensions folder here, all my extensions that I currently have will be loaded here. So we'll create a new folder here, and I've already gone ahead and called it Party Downtime Tracker. This is the folder that will be where we hold our extension, and then I will use my text editor to create a new file and place it in that folder. And that file will have to have the name extension.xml. That's the
Okay.
only way Fantasy Grounds can understand that this is an extension and that you want to run it. Okay. Once I've created that file, we're going to go and get that information from the wiki. We're going to copy this out, okay? And then I'm going to go in and now I'm going to show you the final product of what we're going to do, but we're going to start over. That way, we can at least, have a start, basically, so you can see it from the beginning to the end, and then we'll compare it to my final result. So let's go here, and I'm going to paste this. Now we have the file. Ready to go. I've already copy and pasted it into using my text editor. Now we can actually make changes here, and that's the fun part about this. So now I can change this. I want to call it party downtime tracker, and then instead of using a versioning system like this, we usually use the date. So let's use the date, which would be this, this, and this, just for giggles, right? I believe we also changed this around a little bit. Hold on, this is 07. There we go, something like that. And it doesn't matter which way you go. Europeans like to do it this way. Americans like to do it this way, the other way, where it has the month and date. Doesn't really matter. As long as you know what date is the last time you updated it, we're in good. So let's break this down, Paulette. The very first thing we're going to do here is to change the name, right? Which we've already established in the announcement.
Right.
Let's do party downtime tracker. Cool. Now we have the name. Now we have a version. Now, if this is the very first time you're setting it up, I wouldn't change one. Just keep it as one.
Okay.
That way we can also keep track of when we make changes if this is being distributed through the Forge, which, by the way, excellent place to put extensions and share your work with the entire community.
And if you're not familiar with the Forge, there's all kinds of extensions already on there. So check there first. You might find one already done for you.
Exactly. You might not even have to do any of this work, but it still sounds super fun to me. At least give it a try. Now the author line, that's where you're going to either place your name, your username, or SmiteWorks if this is an actual internal project that we're asking you to do. Then the next line after that would be a description. So I can then type in and be like something along the lines of adding a downtime tracker to the party sheet, right? And then once we have that, that's what's going to display. And then the last line, now this is optional, but it's highly recommended, is to have a rule set listed, which rule sets you want this to show up in. The reason why is because not every rule set's created equal. They may have different rules, different code to handle the rules in their systems. And the code that you place here may not work in all those rule sets. So just to be on the safe side, we like to kind of trim that down and make sure that we're working on one rule set. Now, after very much verification, after you've built this and you tried in all the various rule sets, if everything kind of works, you can delete this line and it'll still work perfectly. But if it doesn't work, say in 5e, well, we don't want it loading up in 5e because it'll just create errors and people will then be unhappy with that. They may have to try to find another extension to do what it needs to do. And then outside the properties is the base. Now, the base is where all the magic happens, Paulette. Okay. And that's where you're going to place your code. Now, what we do here is we're going to have to find out what information, how do we set this extension up? Well, quite frankly, the first step is from there is to load up a normal campaign with no extensions loaded, and then we're going to go find where our next step is. So we've already established it's going to be in the party sheet, and then from there we're going to want to have a tracker somewhere in the party sheet. Well, I've already established that the good place for that would be, well, first we need to add the character, because then we can't see any of these elements unless we have this character up and running. But I think this would be a good place in under the watch order, because it is a downtime tracker. Watch order happens usually during the downtime, and it's easy for the players to access and the GM to look at as well. I see this nice space underneath this, under the name and the watch order ID here. So that might be the best place that I want to place this new control.
That sounds good.
Well, so how do you think I'm going to find this? Well, using a properties inspector. Now, there's some neat little tools already built into Fantasy Grounds to help you and me diagnose problems and also help us with our coding. Now, I have a few on the bottom here. The first one is reloading. That will help reload the Fantasy Grounds without having you leaving the campaign. So it basically turns off the campaign and then reloads it. So if you made any kind of coding changes, it'll run them. Now,
Cool.
just to be careful, Paulette, here, not everything works with a reload. Sometimes you may have to actually close down the program and then restart it. So just if something's not working after a few reloads, maybe just turn off the program completely by closing it out and then reloading it. The next one is the console. The console opens up and gives us a more of a breakdown of what's going on under the hood or the background while Fantasy Grounds is running. So when you're loading modules, where you're loading rule sets, even extensions, and even other information also displays here as well. Now, if say something bad happens, it's going to give you a nice little error message and where to look as well. Now, if you want a deeper dive, what we then recommend is loading up the next one, which is called debug. Now, debug opens up a nice little properties inspector in the top left-hand corner. If I mouse over any of these elements, as you can see, it gives me the window name, gives me the control name, and it gives me some information about where it's located within the window and basically how wide and how tall it is.
Okay.
Now, with the combination of both console and debug on, if I get an error, it will give me a deeper, more what they call a print stack. What that does is it traces back, okay, this function called this function, this called this function. It's almost like a nice little daisy chain until it finally gets to the error and tells you, oh, I failed at something. You need to go fix it. So with all three of these slash commands in conjunction, you can really, really break down in through the program
That's cool.
and help you with the coding. So now that we have all of our set up, I don't you agree that it would look great underneath the name?
I think
I
that's
think
a good
so.
place for it.
Awesome. So we've already established that's where we want it. So now I need to figure out where this is so I can basically add what I need to add. Well, as you can see, the window is PS Watch Item. Okay, great. If that's where we need to look, let's go look for it. Now, I've already opened up CoreRPG. I have it unpacked, and I'm going to start looking in the code. So why do we need a text editor with searching files? Well, because now I can then search for PS Watch Item, and it's going to now search through all of my CoreRPG for that name, for that text. And as you can see, I found the window class. Now, what I usually do is I copy the entire window class because now I don't have to look at CoreRPG anymore.
Wow.
I can just simply work from here. Now, what do we need and what don't we need, right? So let me close this out. Oh, actually, we're going to definitely need it. I think we're going to need this. So I'm going to keep this here. But what do we need? Well, we don't. All we need to do from here is then go merge equals join. And what that does is it joins whatever I add here to the original function, original code. That means it doesn't change anything unless we want it to, but it's almost like we're kind of jamming it into a nice mailbox, so to speak. So we don't need this because it's already been defined. We don't need to worry about the link
It's
because,
just kind of
again,
hanging out together.
exactly. And then when we go from here, now we can then also do this and this. And now what I usually do from here is because these are the two elements that are what we're going to try to kind of anchor off of. As you can see here, this is the watch ID. Here's the name. Great. So I want to kind of anchor off of them. So I'm not going to delete them just yet because we're not changing them, but I want to also some references when we make changes. So now, what would be a better choice of activity changes? We can do a cycler. We can do a combo box. They all have their pros and cons. Generally, string cyclers I usually recommend only for like maybe 1 to 3 options. But if this list is going to be quite long, let's go with a combo box. I think we're gonna be future safe here, and let's go with a combo box. What do you think, Paulette?
I think that'd be a good
Awesome,
idea because
awesome.
I might
So
add a lot of things to it later.
exactly, because there could be a lot of different things that we do during our downtime. Hey, we might even do some carousing. Maybe we just start having some fun. Maybe a party should be an option. I don't know. It's up to you and your table to make those decisions.
My rook's got to go
Um,
pickpocket her for a little bit, you know.
Ex- exactly. Um, I don't know. Maybe they want to, paint a picture, read a book. That could be awesome options as well. So the next step is I need to find this control. Now, I've been moving forward ever since our standardization update. I've been recommending everybody to kind of check out all the controls under the layout folder. These are great tools to use to build your extensions. The reason why is because as we move all of our rule sets over to the standardization system, it's easier to plug stuff in and it just works. It's almost like Legos in a way. Now, I'm going to go under the controls, and I'm going to definitely go with our combo box here. This is the one that I like to use for our combo boxes, and if that's the case, great. So we add this to the list. We name it. We give it a nice, unique name. Let's call it activity because it's not being used anywhere within this area. And then now we have the combo box. Oops, I misspelled it. That would not be a good thing, and not have it spelled right.
Yep.
Okay. Now I have the control I want, but now I'm going to need to give it some more information. This is where I get to give it all of the options that we are going to do. So now we got to add parameters. Whoops. Ooh, parameters. And then from here, I now can go further and add those options. Now, again, I've already gone ahead and done this. So let's go grab this real quick and go here. Now, as you can see, the default label res is basically the default label resource. Now, what this is telling Fantasy Grounds to do is now go hunt for a string resource or a string declaration that matches what's in between the two tags for that particular default label. Okay, and the same thing is down here for
Yep.
label res as well. So these aren't like you're not going to see ps underscore label underscore activity underscore none display because we have some sort of string resource out there that's being declared. Now, if it's not declared, Ground's like, whoops, I can't find it. It doesn't exist. So it won't display that option. Now, say we wanted to test this. Now we can just remove the resource part of this off. And now, when I do this, it will show exactly what's between the tags. So as you can see, I can then change this. I can do some testing with this before I decide to make it a string resource, which is not a requirement. But if you're planning on sharing this out with the world through our Forge, I would highly recommend using string resources because non-native English speakers could then change it, or we can even add to it, or whatever you'd like to do from that aspect.
Okay,
But
so
as you
you
can
could
see,
change it to other languages there.
correct, yes, that's where the string resource comes in. Now, let's go grab those string resources, and I've already done that here. And as you can see, the string resources are now in the window class, which I don't want to have it here. I want it outside it. I want it right here because these are two separate elements. Okay. Um, Now, as you can see, I'm kind of working within the same base area, and I don't have to create any new files. Now, there are cases where you may need to create new files, and I usually recommend that when the code is starting to get so long that you have to kind of figure out where things are. But for now, we're going to keep this short and sweet. As you can see, now the next step is we have to do some sort of anchoring. We have to figure out how we're going to get this anchored to this window. Now, the way to do that is with the anchor tab. Oops, I hit the tab. I hit the caps lock by mistake. My apologies. And even I have some issues from time to time with that particular key. Now, if we look at how the combo content column over in the right here, how it's anchored to a control called content anchor. Well, is content anchor, was it in the window class? No, it wasn't. So now it's going to fail automatically because it doesn't know what it's connected to. Well, I'm going to make it easier for it by saying, hey, anchor to watch ID. I believe that's what I chose. Yes, I did. Now, what this is going to do is do exactly the same code on the right-hand side, except I just changed the two from content anchor to watch ID. Now, what that's saying is okay, now it's going to be underneath the watch ID. And now what I need to tell it is, okay, well, for my left anchor, since it already has a offset, I need to change that. I want the offset to be 0 because I want it to be snug right up against that left side of that control. Now, the right side, we need to make sure that it doesn't just end at the watch ID, because if you look at the watch ID, it's a teeny tiny little box.
Yeah.
Now, that teeny tiny little box ain't going to give us much room to do anything. What we'd like to do is try to get it to the end of this name. So what I'm going to do here is change the parent of that right anchor to name, and then we're going to offset it to -0. That way, it stays put to that very end spot. And then after we're done with that, we verify that everything's gone. We don't need this anymore. And we're pretty much done. Now, the next step is, of course, testing it, right?
Right.
Now, the best way to test something is just turn it on and let it rip, right, Paulette? So now, mind you, like I said, I've already gone through this whole process ahead of time to help make sure everything's in proper order. And this would be the final product that I like to go with. Just before we test it, I want to make sure I go over my changes with you to be sure what we've accomplished here is you can even follow along and see how this all operates. But I want to make sure you're understanding all the parts one more time. As you can see, we copy and paste everything. One key difference here is I added the license information. I'm required, because I'm a SmartWorks employee, to add all the license information for our code because it is copyrighted information. But for you, you don't need that. If you want to put it in there, that's up to you, but not necessary. Now, as you can see, I changed the announcement to Party Downtime Tracker. I gave the date, and also there's a font that is chosen and the icon. Now, I chose the CoreRPG one because it's already there. You can make it whenever you like, and that's where another declaration for the asset would be made, just like how I did with the strings, except this would be for an icon. Now we did the name as I did before. Let's go over it again one more time, Paulette, just to be sure everybody understands how this is all broken down. And I also did one other thing, and I'm sure, Paulette, you're going to find this actually really cool later down the road, is I added the term feature : at the beginning. Now, I've got a little surprise for you once we get to it, but there's a reason why I did that. But as you can see, it's still Party Downtime Tracker. The version, now, since this is literally brand new, it's 1. We're not going to make it 3, for instance, but you have that ability. But if you make changes, not only are you going to change it in the announcement, but you're also going to change it here, just to be on the safe side, so that everybody's getting the right version of your code. Say you had to make a big bug fix. And of course, the author, that's who basically who made the extension. I'm an employee of SmartWorks, so the author is SmartWorks. You can put yourself, your username in the forums, whatever you like. Just make it appropriate, of course. The description. Now, this description breaks down what we're trying to do in a nutshell. As you can see, to add an activity tracker to the party sheet in CoreRPG. Very simple, very upfront. And of course, I've only limited this to CoreRPG because this video would be way too long if I had to test it in so many rule sets. So right now, we can only verify it's going to be able to be working in CoreRPG. I've created some string resources for the combo box here, which we will see in a short moment when we start testing it. And of course, I've joined with the PS Watch item, and I've added the activity, and then set up the control ready to go. So now, the extension is ready to go. We're ready. We might even actually not even get to this point. We want to start testing out our extension, right, Paulette?
Yep,
So
time to
what?
test it.
So we got to start looking at maybe seeing if we can get it loaded. So when you go back, load your campaign, you may have to actually close out of Fantasy Grounds and reload it sometimes to get the stuff to appear. But we go to CoreRPG. We create a CoreRPG campaign. I already have one already made. And then what you do is try to locate your new extension. Now, the Fantasy Grounds has some built-in filters for extensions. As you can see, dev is there, feature, setting, and theme. Now, I've already added feature, right, Paulette?
Yep.
So if we want to try and see if we can find that real quick, let's try to filter it. And look, I only have one feature extension. Now, this might have more features available, but we've gotten our one. So now I can click on it, and now this should enable my extension. All right, so now we have Fantasy Grounds open. We're going to now test this extension. As you can see, we can verify that it is currently running because it's in the chat window saying, hey, party downtime tracker, yay, it's ready to go. Now, we verify that we have a party member in the thing because, again, we can't test our activities if we don't have a party member. And now we go to the order one. And oh my God, look at that, Paulette. It's loaded, working. And as you can see, all the different options are here. Now, this is a great foundation for any future changes. Like, for instance, we can add further automation. Like if I choose guarding, I might add a nice little roll button to the right there, and then they can roll it for some sort of whatever. The world's your oyster with this. So I'm glad that we are able to kind of break down and show you how these extensions work. And as you saw, it's a very small bit of code, but goes a long way. And again, we can also make changes basically everywhere. But there are some things I would recommend to kind of go slow. Take small projects, don't go too big, because then you might get lost in the weeds and get frustrated, and then might have a lot of questions to ask. Well, as you can see here, this small little project had, a very quick resolution. So Paulette,
cool.
what do you think? Could you yourself maybe make an extension?
I probably could, especially, having the basics already, mapped out there for me.
Mm-hmm.
All I have to do is kind of plug it in. That would work.
Well, that's it for me today. As far as extensions are concerned, that's really all we have to show. But I'm sure, Paulette, just to reassure you, I'll be in the general hangout Monday through Friday, generally between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you don't see me there, that means I'm busy with a particular project. But I do help Paulette answer any technical questions. And then also, we also have a Discord channel and a Discord channel called Coding Help that you can ask for help. And then there also is the forums, which we have the laboratory, which is our little area of the forums where you can ask as many questions you like related to anything that you may have been running into. So Paulette, I think that pretty much covers my little demo. Did you have any questions for me related to this little process?
No, I don't think I do. It looks like it'd be fairly simple to make that.
Awesome.
I might actually have to make some soon.
See, that I would love to see. But thank you for spending time with me here, Paulette, to help explain this. Well, you guys have a great day, and you take care.
Happy gaming.